Hello and welcome everybody to the Peculiar Paradigm podcast, where we tell stories that connect us all. If you're watching this, you've probably watched our very first episode of our very first story, The Knife, written by these two young ladies here and myself. Strong activists in our, civil and political community, both from Bay Area, both from the Bay Area Urban Debate League, I believe. Yeah,
Yeah.
represent. I'm a representative from Club Stride or Voxu, whichever one you know us as. And today we're going to be talking about the first episode of the first story of Peculiar Paradigm, The Knife.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I love the alliteration. Peculiar, what is it? Peculiar Paradigm Podcast. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I came up with the name, everyone. So I'm very proud of that. And I'm a fan of alliteration. I don't care what anybody says. Alliteration is fun, okay?
Alliteration goes hard.
Alliteration goes hard, as they say in the streets.
No. I'm putting my hoodie back
on. All right, so let's get straight into it. Who wants to start? Do you guys want me to keep rambling, or do you?
Are you gonna? Oh, I thought you were gonna like MC this whole thing. I didn't know where.
No, we're just gonna jump straight into talking about it. I suppose we can go. I'll do a brief summary because I don't want to spoil anything. If you guys haven't watched it and you jump straight to this discussion, which in that case, go back and watch that video and leave a like and subscribe because it helps us immensely. Yeah, a little sneaky plug there. But The Knife is a story following several teenagers, mostly female, through their journey in the juvenile justice system. The first few episodes that are going to be coming out are going to be from the perspective of Leia Dukas. She is a young woman, very troubled, living in a very noir life. a very, very, very unsatisfactory lifestyle that she was living in. And she is going through a whole bunch, both at home and at school, and decides to show the world that she's tired of it in her own very artistic way because she is an artist. So that'll be fun for those of you guys who want to, see what happens and maybe learn why the story is called The Knife. Heads up, it's not at all like a happy story for the most part. There's going to be some funny bits, mostly calling Edward short.
True. Ooh, that's a good segue into talking about the characters, I think, because I want to talk about Leia and how, I guess we're talking about just the first episode, right?
Yeah, just the first episode.
Is it weird that I kind of like don't like Leia? Like if I met her in person, I'd be like, oh, hey.
Yeah.
Ella, you made her, right?
Yeah.
She's your baby?
She's your mind baby. Yeah.
Not the name.
Yeah, sorry.
The character.
That the name was me. Sorry.
What was your process of making her?
Yeah. Tell us a little about that, Ella Mishra.
Okay.
Everybody stare at Ella.
Let me see.
No pressure.
Peer pressure.
I don't remember. I was just flowing. I had not come up with any ideas for what we were going to do. So I was flowing. We had 15 minutes in the Storyteller podcast group to come up with something. Mr. Edwards already had something, so I was like, I'm just going to do a random flowing. And I created 5 stories. 4 of them were sucky. So I just picked this one. I cannot find my page because I am so unorganized and take my stuff in my math notebook.
Which, by the way, everybody, all the stories Ella came up with incredible idea.
Really? Yeah. I wasn't there for that part. What were like some of the ideas you guys had thrown around before you landed on the knife?
Oh, we can't give that away for free.
Oh,
we can't give that away for free.
Oh.
Maybe, you know, if you guys, I think the only way we're going to be able to give it is if you guys, you know, click that like button and subscribe with the notification. Because if not, it's gotta be on lockdown. So we'll let's give them a second. Let's give them a moment to click it. Oh wow! Okay, they clicked it. Incredible!
Wow!
Wonderful news.
Look at you.
I think that unlocks just about one other story idea. Because if we do, because I guess it's more of just like an introduction to the story rather than the.
We haven't quite gotten into it yet. Yeah.
Yeah, but there are a couple story ideas. There was this one, which we named The Knife. Lovely story, which we'll get more into, which we're supposed to be doing. But the other stories were, some of them took place in like post-apocalyptic wastelands where, well, not really wastelands, but more of like broken down societies that really gave younger people little choice of how they were going to live their lives. It kind of had to steal stuff, and then them stealing stuff ended them up in criminal justice systems. And a lot of those stories were about like fighting, or like how people within criminal justice systems have to worry about global warming, essentially how climate change affects them more severely than other people. But Ella, I think, might have the exact notes of stuff. But yeah,
that's cool. So okay, I guess we should go back to the knife. I mean, well, Ella figure, I don't know if Ella, do you have the stuff for Leia, or like do you want to, I don't know.
I found the page, but now I'm realizing that the page I flowed on and tried to create was a paragraph that is the first sentence has a huge spoiler. So it's just the whole entire plot.
I guess we could just talk about Leia. She's okay. The vibe that Leia gives me is very, I hate my life. I think that's why I don't like her, because she's like
a victim.
Kind of that, and also I think
personality.
I see her as very like, what's the word? Kind of like a spoiled brat. Because like objectively, like not like she isn't necessarily. She's a victim to herself, as in the circumstances around her aren't the problem, at least not in her story specifically. Like she isn't a victim to her circumstances. She's kind of a victim to her own mind, and like, I guess her parents are they're kind of
yeah,
but like
yeah, I think a lot of it, you know. And let's actually hear from Ella on the subject of what she thinks about Leia, because like we've said, she is your mind baby. So do you feel the same type of sentiment, or you know, a bit more connection with Leia?
I would say, I mean, humans are just complicated. They have all these different layers, so I can see where you're going with Leia's first layer, but I mean, I kind of also see her second layer under everything she does. But I think she does need to change her attitude just a tiny bit. That would not get her in some of these problems.
Oh, I know. Wait, I'm trying to go over it, like make sure I'm not giving away before we recorded or let out an episode. But
can't get you guys know about further episodes. But
I'm very excited for how, like, especially because Ella, you're in charge of writing Leia mostly. I have my own character. Love her. But we're not talking about her right now. I'm just really excited how you're gonna like develop Leia's character arc, because I'm okay with like disliking a character and then over the chapters being more like, is the word empathetic or sympathetic, whichever one, where I'm like, oh, I kind of starting to get who you are now and like your whole vibe. But this first episode,
I think incredible. Sympathetic is just like feeling bad for somebody, whereas in opposition, empathetic, putting yourself in their place. And like understand that. Yeah. I think I'm very curious to see how, because in the first episode, for those of you who watched it, I guess, and really this discussion is going to be a spoiler for the first episode. So if you haven't watched the first episode and you don't want to be spoiled, sorry. Yeah, in this first episode, I think really reflects Leia's current mental state.
Or lack thereof.
Yeah, pretty much. Sort of her spiral into insanity for the most part. And I think that more than anything is going to be a important understanding of how she ends up where she's going to end up in the story later on, and how most kids end up in the criminal justice, system. It's not because they're completely, normal kids in completely normal circumstances doing quote unquote bad things. Most of the time, they're in really janked, really messed up circumstances, and often, neighborhoods with cultures that don't promote positive growth or establishing a strong, healthy, not crime-based community. So they don't really see a lot of alternatives. And that's how they end up there, because their mental state isn't normal. Their environment isn't normal. And so they're not going to do quote unquote normal things to achieve success, or just to survive, really, a lot of the time. But Leia is a rare example where
very interesting. I think her circumstances are very, very interesting.
Yeah. And she's just really, Leia is probably her circumstances are much more normal than, say, another character who I think should we give away?
See, it's hard. It's hard.
I don't think
I'm like,
very hard.
Yeah, it is hard. Another character we have in the story, whose circumstances are a bit on the rougher side.
Talking about my mind baby. I love my mind baby.
You're talking about your mind baby. Yes. But yeah, Leia's circumstances are a lot more ill, I guess you could say. Her parents, as you guys may have noted from the first episode, are not really all that cool. They're not supportive of her choices to pursue art. In fact, instead of just being blatantly, instead of being obvious about not supporting it, they're like actually very negative about it. They're in, they're insulting and make her, like, degrade her for wanting to pursue art.
You know what's interesting about that is that, like, I guess that's one of the things that I kind of like vibe with Leia on, in that I don't know how common this is in like people of color families, or if it's just us, or like I have no idea. But I hear a lot of that from, like, I guess I hang out with a lot of Filipino people, and in like our culture, for the most part, it's like it's a cute hobby, but like, oh my gosh, that's never ever something that you would pursue as a career. Like, you'd be crazy to even bring that up to your parents.
Yeah, that for sure happened to me when I was younger. Ella, you?
Really? You are younger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the younger one.
Oh man, this is like on my Zoom, it's me, then Ella, then April. If it was me, April, Ella, then it'd be like oldest, middle, youngest.
That's what it looks like on my screen.
Lucky. Dang it.
I think you can rearrange there, but anyways, sorry, Ella. Continue.
I don't remember what part we were on.
Talking about the art thing within like families and whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I've never really heard of anything happening like that. I probably have seen it in shows, but
really, that's so interesting. Yeah. Ella, what do you want? Do you know what you want to do? Like, you don't have to know, but like, do you?
yeah, I want to be a lawyer. I mean, it's my dream to
Ooh,
become a
wow.
but I want to become a lawyer, so because I'm a very social justice person, so I want to argue that then because the only way I could really do something with social justice besides being in social justice movies is to become famous and then say something about social justice, which I'd rather just be a lawyer.
Yeah.
A lot of a lot less social scrutiny.
Oh yeah.
But for sure, both excellent ideas. Very good insight there.
You
Uh,
know,
hmm?
there's a lot of like I'm just like skimming through. That's what I've been looking at. I'm like skimming through the chapter too, because I've been working on my mind baby. But like it's very interesting the way Leia kind of deals with I don't know like the her I don't know if it's like self-doubt or like it's kind of a combination of self-doubt mixed in with what other people have said about her. And like I don't know, I thought that would be interesting to like get into. I think did all three of us wrote that like that one scene, I guess you could call it, because
When
we
she's
all like
painting?
yeah, the part where it's like all the different voices in her head and she's
Yeah.
sitting there like responding. I don't know, it sounds really crazy out of context, but it's like all internal. This is
Yeah.
all up here. Um
A lot of Leia's parts are all internal. There's
Yeah.
not too much talking.
That's probably her biggest problem
she's so
is
in her
that
head.
she's like most of how she deals with life is up here and not really communicating those issues to anybody. But I just want to finish what we were talking about earlier, and that was just that Leia's circumstances suck, but they're not like I live around a bunch of drug dealers and gangsters and born without a lot of money, and she's not necessarily a part of a because she is Indian, not Native American. She's Indian, so she is not really necessarily a race commonly associated with criminal activity, you know. Whereas, another character, another one who will be by her side within the criminal justice system later on, is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as you're saying, oh no, I was just sorry. I was trying to say.
Oh yeah, no. A lot of it is in her head. And like it kind of makes me wonder like oh, has that character hasn't even been introduced in the first episode. An important supporting cast. Like if Leia ever reached out more, I wonder if circumstances would be different for her. She keeps herself very closed in, I think, is one of the big not problems, but like her own personal struggles is that she doesn't vocalize what she goes through often enough.
For sure. Like, I think she's, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Ella. I'm confident she's done like tried to talk with her parents about her lifestyle choices, and they're probably just not going to be cool with it any way you look at it. And then going to school and then having less of everybody, more of one particular individual who you guys have heard in the first episode, but excuse me, don't know his name yet. But I think getting people like that in your life who kind of laugh at your aspirations and stuff like that also contributes to it. But reaching out, like you said, to people who are Crocs.
It is
I was
Crocs.
trying not to say.
No, I checked it. His name is in there. I just read it. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, yeah,
like,
it says. Yeah, it says
Oh
the
my
paint.
God.
Let's see.
Okay. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, Crocs. Her Cuzzo Crocs.
No, I didn't. No. Cut that out. Cut that out. Cut it out.
Nope, it's 100% going in. This is almost unedited. Surely, I'm sure we probably won't edit this.
Oh no! This is so.
Look what you've done. Look what you've done. For more spoilers, unlike this video and then like it again. Thank you.
True.
Um, Joking. We won't give you spoilers even if you do that. For now, at least. Um, but yeah, I think the most important bit of this episode, especially talking about how Leia's most of her problems are a result of her being so much in her head about her own insecurities, and really more about her being insecure about the fact that people in her life aren't approving of her pathways, which is a huge problem for young people, and often is the reason a lot of younger people do a lot of crazy things. Um, it's not because young people are crazy. It's because, or innate, or it's not because some young people are bad and some young people are good. It's mainly because a lot of young people are looking to find themselves in the world more, but more in the sense, find a them that the world accepts, that the world can, love and tolerate and be behind. And when the world doesn't do that, especially when people in the world important to you don't do that, like your parents, don't even try to make room to do it, it can drive you crazy. It will make you do really bad things, and that's for average people. That's for every person on the planet. That's a normal person, and that's the point of sort of this episode, is showing that a normal person, like just a child in this average household, could end up like Leia is going to end up. Um, and that's an important thing to know. It's an important thing to pay attention to. Yeah, because I think a lot of people decide not to face certain issues or talk about or think about certain issues until it directly affects them. And this is just to let you know that it could happen to your child, or it could happen to you if you're a younger person and watching this.
Ella, that reminds me. How old? I know, like, we don't get into that often because it's not that relevant. How old is Leia again? Because she's in like high school, right? She's in high school.
Freshman, I think, right?
I think I was trying to find that out because about to happen.
Everybody who's watching this, we totally know what we're doing. All right, we're professionals.
We totally know what we're doing.
We're professionals. We got everything about this story figured out. All right.
100%.
Ella was joking just now. She knows exactly how old every character that will ever exist is.
Down to the second.
Down to the very second of their birth. She actually knows all their signs. Actually.
Do you?
No.
Wait, what?
Oh, sorry. I was like, I don't even know. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was trying to find how old Leia is.
Oh,
so
gosh.
I think I was, because I wrote it down somewhere. So for my research for everything that's about to happen to Leia, because we want it to be as
accurate,
realistic as possible. So we're not just talking humbo jumbo, and it's actually something that happens in real life. She's either 16 or 17.
Oh wow!
Hey, she's a freshman though.
Wait, we decided that.
Yeah, she's a freshman.
Wait, hold on. Then how
have we said she was a freshman?
Then how does she? Oh, but then how does? Oh,
actually, I think I might have just pictured that in my head.
Hold on, I'm skimming through the parts. I'm just gonna look up the word freshman.
Looking at the episode, everybody. Turn away.
No, you never said the word freshman, so technically it's ambiguous.
That was just in my head. That was just in my dome.
I imagined her as like older, actually. That part gets cut.
We'll leave that to you guys to determine how old she is. Leave a comment below.
Comment below
saying how old Leia is. Thanks. Yeah. 16 or 17. Brutal. That's where you're just now starting to maybe see the light at the end of the tunnel. Especially, I know a lot of high schoolers at the age of 17 or 16, 18, whenever they're about to graduate, depending on your circumstances. That's the time where they feel like they're seeing the most freedom, or they're terrified
Ain't that ironic? Isn't that the irony here? I feel that is so ironic that this is eventually going to lead up to like what should have been her most free period of life, and it's just not. It is simply not.
Yeah.
I don't know. It kind of reminds me like you remember Frankie Guzman. I really want to reach out to him because like I think like what he was. Oh, for context, he's I forgot.
Shout out to Frankie Guzman without context.
Hey, Mans is like a lawyer slash
Mans.
And he makes like legislation. That's cool. A lot of it has to do with the juvenile justice system. And I was like, he would know. Like, what was it? He was like, it's his firsthand experience too with like what happens. And like, I don't know. I got a lot of resources and I'm excited to dive into it for those way, way later episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But that'll be interesting. I don't know. I hate that we can't talk about the other because there's so many more things.
There's so much more that we have planned and is ready to go. Even though us not knowing people's ages and whatnot, that's irrelevant.
That's not important.
Right? It doesn't matter.
Only important that they're all minors. It's the only thing you really need to know. It's they're minors. Like pretty much that's it.
They're somewhere between 14 and 17 because if they're not, my research.
They are.
Wait, what were you saying, Ella? Please.
Their age is somewhere between 14 and 17 because if it's not, my research is just like poop now.
Yeah, so a freshman would have been 14.
Freshmen are such
babes. Okay.
I forgot, Ella, you're not in high school. I can't see you.
Don't give Ella away, all right? Ella is Ella's not in high school because she already graduated from Stanford.
Yeah, my bad. Didn't mean to expose your PhD there. Oops, did I?
Not Stanford. I meant Harvard, actually.
Oh. Was it Harvard? Really? Last time I heard it was MIT. Oh.
No, she graduated with Harvard. She graduated from Harvard with honors, actually.
Oh, you're right. It must have been after Stanford. It must have been after her courses at Stanford, and they were like, "You're too smart.
We can't keep you here. You're discouraging all of our top students. You have to go." So they sent her to Harvard, and she's really doing the same thing at Harvard. She's
what a
destroying Harvard, crushing people's souls. We have 8 more minutes.
Okay, should we close it off here, or I guess we can keep going until like 2 minutes. I just want to make sure we have time for you to do your outro because we be getting off track.
I'll make time. Ella, I talked a lot. I just want to make sure you guys say everything that you guys felt about that episode. Any questions you think the audience should be asking themselves about what's to come? What's to come?
I don't know. I really just want to say spoilers. I really just want to tell you the whole
I know. I'm waiting for what episode? Episode later is what I'm waiting for. Because right now, here's what you know, right? This is what you as the audience need to understand. 1, I almost said Ella. Leia, circumstances, technically, other than her parents, not crappy. 2, she has very small support group. 3, thinks a lot up here and she's kind of obsessed with her art in a way. Like I kind of like the idea that she is obsessed with her art.
Yeah.
And she like just think about like what I don't know, I guess what would you do if you were Leia? Because she reacts, in my opinion, very differently than like a lot of people I've met who are in situations like that and just go about it in a different way. So
I can't wait until we release the next episode.
I know. What episode? Wait, which episodes have been released? I don't know. Just the first one? You're joking.
No, they'll only be able to see the first one for now. And then after that, because that's what this one is about, is the first episode.
I'm gonna cry. It feels like okay.
Hopefully by after Friday, we ought to have a few more. At least up to episode
once a week, right? Uploads once a week.
Yeah. So we'll have, and plus we also need to get our sick logo made. So I got to find.
True.
So it'll be, yeah. They're gonna. You guys will get more. I promise.
It gets pretty good.
It gets very good, and there's so much more to talk about. And
we might bring an editor. If I can get a thumbs up from a certain somebody, we might have an editor, because I had a friend read over it and they were like, how are the voice actors going to be able to do this? I was like, I didn't edit it. I'm sorry. So we'll see about that. But
yeah,
I'm excited.
You'll get to know our voice actors very intimately. You have three of us, three of them right here. So
when Daisaku says three of them, he's talking about how he literally carries the entire show on his back. But okay.
I do no such thing, but I will accept your compliment gracefully, like I just did.
If there's gonna be credits at the end of an episode, like not this type of episode, but a regular, like the episode that you can see, it'd be like Daisaku Edwards did Miss Jones, the dad, Croc, probably more to come, and then Ella Mishra, Leia, and then just all the other voice actors only have one
smaller role, please. Not me being the mom. She has like 2 lines.
Yeah, fair. All right. Having said all that, if you stayed for this whole episode, this whole discussion, which we don't have a name for yet, but we'll come up with one. Promise. We're the storytelling crew. We come up with things all the time because we know what we're doing and we're professionals. We have a Harvard graduate with us. Yeah. So thank you very much for staying tuned with us this whole entire time. Once again, if you liked this discussion or if you liked episode 1, please leave some likes, leave some comments, subscribe, don't forget to press that bell notification button because it helps us immensely.
It does.
I am very glad you joined us today and look forward to episode 2 and the discussion that will entail that. Hopefully we're going to get some people outside of us three, the writers, to discuss with us so that they can be, in the dark about some stuff as well, and we can tease them. That'll be very entertaining for at least myself. Thank you guys for joining us. We are Peculiar Paradigm, and can't wait to tell you guys a story or talk to you guys in here next week. Ta-ta.
Bye.
Bye.